Let's do it.
Get ready to kick off your week with Weeksauce. And if you enjoy this show, find more podcasts like it over at amove.tv. Happy Monday, the last Monday of this month, everybody. This is Weeksauce. Good morning, Kyle.
Morning, Garrett.
Afternoon for me, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
I'm awake.
Are you?
I'm working out in the morning.
You seem very awake. My dog is apparently awake. Zelda, stop barking. I don't know if that's coming through or not.
No, it's fine.
Okay, cool. Oh, man. I missed doing shows last week. I didn't do any shows last week.
Well, I mean, you did one on a stage in front of people.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's different. It doesn't feel like a show. Well, yeah, it doesn't feel as much like a show when I'm not the one that kind of, like, produces it.
Yeah, it's, I missed you. It was nice to have you reading things for me. It is difficult to host sometimes when the emails are like playing Simon Says, and you're late in the game there, and you're trying to remember like red, green, orange, green, blue, and you're just like, oh my god.
A number slips in there somehow. Like red, green, orange,
man.
7. Shit.
Can't keep those things straight.
Yeah, for those that aren't aware, like you suffer from dyslexia.
Suffer.
How do you? What word do you use?
No, I don't want to put anyone on the spot. That's fine.
I just like fancy words, man.
It's a good one.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that that's the only reason you missed me. And
oh no, man, no. It was we had so many great questions last week. We had Jeff Canott on ITN, and I missed you there with all the reworks and all. So it's good to have you back.
You guys did a good job last week, by the way. It's always a treat to get to listen to my own shows with me not on them. Because I don't know. I feel like we make good shows, and I have no reason to actually listen to them because I'm on them. So it's kind of fun when I take a break.
I used to listen to my own shows, but I did like one back then. So it was more doable.
Yeah. Every now and then when I'm editing, like I'll just get into this trance where I end up listening to like the first half hour, and I think that's just my gut check, just checking in, making sure I'm still happy with everything. But yeah, you know how it is. But yeah, I've been traveling, dude. I went to New York City.
How was it?
I haven't been back to New York City since, and I believe Archer has the joke of you can just call it New York. I haven't been back since I was 19. So I am now 31, Kyle.
Oh, wow.
It's been over a decade.
Does it change, though?
A little bit, but I think it was more of where we decided to hang out versus the city. I also got to see I have a cousin that has lived in the city for over 3 decades.
Ooh.
And a significantly older cousin than myself. And I was talking to him, and I was like, "Hey, does this ever change?" Because to me, it feels pretty much the same. He's like, "Oh, you have no idea. It has changed so much."
I mean, it's not like I'm sure if I went back to New Mexico, went back to Albuquerque, because there was so much open space and desert shrub, that there is like a holy crud, everything's different. They built a McDonald's there kind of thing. Whereas New York, I'm sure you walk down the street and you're like, do they change? Does anything change? Do the LED screens get higher quality?
I mean, they do. Go watch 80s movies that have a scene in Times Square, and then go look at modern day photos of that nightmare.
That's right. We watched 2 classics this week. One was Forbidden Planet, and the other one was The Day the Earth Stood Still. Thank you, Kristen.
I'm glad that she's in earshot to help you with your brain speed bump. But, oh, wow, Forbidden Planet, that's an old one, dude.
Yeah,
We're looking at the
we
50s.
were on a she watched Truman Show for her new podcast, and then we kind of did an exchange where we watched like Ace Ventura movies, and then we watched Naked Gun movies for her Jim Carrey, my Leslie Nielsen. And then I went, hang on, Leslie Nielsen was in Forbidden Planet? What the crap? And so I ended up going back and watching it. It's not a comedy, by the way. It's his first film debut, and it's full drama, sci-fi. It's a fascinating movie, honestly. It is MGM made about 13 years after Wizard of Oz. And it's one of the few big budget sci-fis not made by Fox during that time period. And it broke even. It was basically a flop. But over time, particularly Robbie the robot, you'd know him as the sort of Michelin man legged with the dome head and all the kind of gizmos in there. Robot toy, not the square head one, but the dome head one. That was just part of everything.
Only reason I know of that robot is that he shows up as a cameo in the original Gremlins movie.
Yeah, he is. He's credited in there, so I didn't know what that credit was, but
yeah, this is the the cutaway to the dad at the invention conference. There's the robot from Forbidden Planet just stomping around in the background in front of the time machine from Time Machine.
Like the chair one, the armchair one with the spinny thing.
Yeah. It is a good time machine. It's steampunk as hell. But wow, look at Leslie Nielsen here, dude. He was a handsome young man.
Yeah, it's funny.
Look at that coif. Beautiful hair.
Apparently on his tombstone are the words "Let it rip" because he loved fart jokes and apparently would troll around all his sets with a fart machine.
That just warms the deepest recesses of my heart.
It does. He made a lot of bad movies. Not all of them are, Spy Hard, even the comedy ones there's just some real awful pieces in there.
Hey, but that's how I feel about Truman Show.
I mean, Truman Show's in that weird, in between where he hasn't quite calmed down enough. And I just feel so bad. Like Leslie Nielsen, Thor, Chris Hemsworth, right? They had the easy track in a sense, right? Like drama being the handsome man, that's not easy. What's his face? Mick Handsome from Blade Runner recently.
Mick Handsome, Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, Gosling.
That's
right?
the best name for Ryan Gosling.
But you start there, and it's hard. Sure, you got to push through. You're sexualized and all these sort of odd things, but when you go into comedy from action or drama, people are like, wow, this guy's so talented. I didn't know Chris Hemsworth was funny. Whereas you got Jim Carrey and then he does drama and everyone's like, start being funny, man. It sucks. It must suck. I love Bruce Almighty because I feel like at that age, he was finally old enough to be calm enough to be viewed on screen.
Yeah. I don't know. I just find Truman Show boring. I'm just bored by that film.
It's a little long. We also watched 40-Year-Old Virgin this week, too.
I haven't seen that with 30-year-old eyes. I remember finding it very funny at the time.
It holds up well enough.
What are your... I did not expect... We did not expect to have this conversation to kind of just naturally occur. What are, your favorite comedies?
That's a good question because you have to ask what's a good comedy sometimes, or what did you repeat around the house with your friends to the point where it became hilarious?
Super Troopers.
Yeah.
Super Troopers and Napoleon Dynamite.
I had never seen the Harrison Ford movie where he runs from Tommy Lee.
The Fugitive?
You normally don't give you information in that order.
You haven't seen The Fugitive.
I hadn't.
Oh, okay, so you have seen it.
Wrongfully Accused a million times, though, before I finally saw The Fugitive. And Wrongfully Accused is a hilarious Leslie Nielsen movie.
Oh, so that's like seeing Austin Powers before you saw a James Bond movie.
Yeah, but it kind of exists on its own, right? Like, you don't have to know the guy with the cat to like Austin Powers.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I had actually seen a ton of James Bond movies before I saw Austin Powers, but I never saw the one with I think it's Dr. No that has the suit.
Yeah.
I had never seen that particular one, and then when I was going back through and rewatching all the James Bond movies I missed, I'm like, oh, hey, that's what Austin Powers was making fun of. What do you know? But you're right. Like, I think it's true of Wrongfully Accused and Austin Powers. You don't really need to have an appreciation for what they are satirizing to enjoy the movies.
I think that makes ultimately the best comedy. Like Spaceballs, I think you could get away with some of the jokes, right? Like lightsaber rings and those things would get lost ultimately.
What
and
would it though? Like to me, like a lightsaber is just so universally known. Like if you never saw a Star Wars movie, you would know that they had laser swords, even if you didn't know what they were called.
That's true. There was a sickness in the film industry though called scary movie.
Yeah, I thought the first one was funny.
It's such a weird time period, right? Like where instead of these comedies that were very removed from and had their own stories, like Men in Tights, right? Like you're not just taking scenes. A lot of movies around that time of Scary Movie would just start dodging bullets for no freaking reason. And it was like that scene is really kind of throwaway in The Matrix. We watched it recently too. But we were just obsessed with it. And we would run those things into the ground. It was in Shrek, for God's sake.
I think it feels throwaway now. I remember at the time thinking the bullet time scene was like seeing the Death Star explode for the first time. It was just something I've never seen before, and which is so with action movies, whether it's sci-fi, fantasy, modern, whatever. I just want to see something I haven't seen before, and that's what I thought the Matrix did with that scene, and it was so iconic. I think in to like present rewatches of the Matrix, it's the least interesting action scene. The lobby shootout is amazing. It is such a brilliantly executed action scene that getting on the rooftop and watching him just like bend over to dodge a few bullets, you don't really care anymore. Even though honestly I think it holds up. It looks pretty solid still.
Oh yeah. No, there's nothing like really all that graphical about the Matrix that doesn't work because it's either modified humans with actual green screen kind of work going on. You're looking at the humans. And the HD was high enough at the time that it could handle it. And the robots are all robots, which is what makes Iron Man work in every movie forever.
Yep, exactly. Until we get and this is just Matrix 1, by the way. 2 and 3, and their Play-Doh people CG is a whole nother story.
Well, yeah, I mean, and then I'm going to tell you the truth. It just flies the hell away. It's so random.
I would admission to me, I really liked the Matrix sequels when they came out. Like when they came out, I was just like, holy shit, I'm getting anime in my American live action film. Yes, sign me up.
Yeah, well, and the Ghost brothers and the robots with the mini gun hands, like, but they actually had guns. But they were being used for other things. Never mind. Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, they had to serve multiple purposes.
Right, they were carrying.
But I think when they were set up for like battle, the guns were kind of like permanently attached to the arm, but they still had to like manually pull the trigger with their robot fingers. I need to go back and rewatch that.
For some reason, I remember some guy doing a whippy woo with the guns and basically giving it a little blow. Not actually doing the blow part, but definitely the whippy woo.
I don't remember that at all. Huh. I will challenge you. I don't want to challenge that because I really don't want to go watch the third Matrix anytime soon.
No one does. Let it live in your memories. I mean, it was cool. Like when they were all coming through the hole and they were like swarming out of the hole and stuff, and the room, the fight in the big stair room. That was really sweet.
Yeah, man, there's some good stuff in those movies. People were a little harsh. Probably because the narrative really got confused. But standalone set pieces, there's some great ones.
By the way, for anyone out there who is curious about that Forbidden Planet business, it is what inspired Star Trek. So it's totally worth watching. It's a little long. I mean, just like most of your MGM movies of the time. Whereas the Day the Earth Stood Still is basically a long Twilight Zone episode.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, check it out.
All right, sweet. But yeah, had a great time in New York. Went to Atlanta, did a Heroes panel. You should be able to watch that on the MomoCon TV Twitch channel. I believe it's up there as a VOD.
I did. That was Savage Lashes.
Savage Lashes?
Savage Lashes.
Oh, to take early footage of all four of us and show it to the public?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I enjoyed it immensely.
I was aware it was happening, and I was just like, all right, just brace. I was sitting there being like, I feel like mine's going a little longer, Lashes. You can cut this now.
I mean, to be fair, we do have more footage to pull from. These were casters and streamers you were alongside, and streaming wasn't quite a thing when we were busy podcasting.
No. No. One of the questions we didn't have time to get to was, what got you started streaming, or why did you start streaming? And my answer was going to be, I didn't want to. I was forced to. Our audience just really wanted to start recording live, and I'm like, no, we're a podcast. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
It has been so helpful, though, because when you record offline, there's this part of your brain that goes, did I mess up? Hey, Garrett, let's cut that. All right. There's some post work for you, boy.
Yeah. It's freeing.
Yeah.
There's a certain point where it's like, oh, right, I just have to make this work.
Plus, you get a copy online, an emergency copy, which is nice.
Yes, it's very nice, But yeah, man, I don't know. There's like so much crap happened in New York. Like I've been having these experiences lately where a lot of things have been built up in my head, and they've been matching my expectations, and that's nice. It's nice, and I had that happen a lot in New York. Just the city in general was exactly what I expected. Also, a couple, like the one time where my expectations were exceeded was I never got lost on a subway. I was pretty sure that at some point Katie and I were gonna take the wrong train. Never happened. We conquered the subway, Kyle, with the help of an app. By the way, if you're ever trying to get around New York, download City Mapper. No sponsor. It just saved my life while I was there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Or book sales, then.
What?
No, I mean, there's some awesome, like I bought when I first moved to Chicago, it was a book, but it had multiple fold-out maps, and each page was a different neighborhood. And it was fantastic, but also phones couldn't handle something so fancy at the time.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah. I mean, we were up there.
AAA screwed.
We were up there with friends, too. Ben and Abby were there at the same time, but they were working a conference during the day. So we didn't really get together until the evening, so we were kind of on our lonesome up until the evening. Central Park. It meant I expected it to just be like, oh man, this is probably awe-inspiring to see so much green in the middle of this city, and it was.
They do a nice job with it.
Yeah, like I've been to this is my third time being to New York, and I've never been to Central Park, and it's freaking dope. Like, and it's so weird to me that people get that jazzed about green. Like, there were so many people in the park, like with as few articles of clothing on as they could legally get away with just sunbathing.
Oh yeah. The northern cities are very attractive in the summer. It is shocking because the weather, it rolls through and it's beautiful. And all of a sudden, all these people wearing giant, I mean, there's a shared misery too. Like everyone's like barely got their eyes showing, and you got your scarves on and you're all bundled up and you're waiting in line and you turn and your eyes lock with someone, and there's a moment where you're like, yeah, this sucks. And you both kind of smile at each other and have this moment where, and then the summer, everything falls off, and that person you made eyes with is very sexy. And you go, oh my God, I've been riding the bus with this many sexy people this long.
That's what I had, but removed from the winter turmoil, right? I just showed up in New York, and Katie and I look at each other and we're like, why is everyone so sexy? Why is everyone in the best shape of their lives?
It's the city. You are surrounded by people, and that feeling of, man, I need to start working out because you know that's coming. Like, people are like, beach bod. No, city bod is way more important.
Apparently. And I lived in LA for a year and a half, and New York, you're sexier, New York. I'm just gonna say it. Like, you got LA beat.
Well, LA is constantly hot, right? And so there's a misery that sets in where you just lay your fat self down and you go, whoa.
Are you saying that because of how cold it gets, that if you don't get up and do something with your life, you will actually die? That it leads to a healthier lifestyle? Then it's so hot, I'm just going to stay inside.
I think it's more the ebb and flows of seasons, right? And in LA, in Florida, there is AC to sort of maintain the same temperature throughout the year.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, had a great time. And the big thing was obviously we wanted to go hit the cocktail bars that we've learned how to make cocktails from because they have books.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple, there's many like award-winning, some people may call them speakeasies. I had an interesting conversation with Abby where she's like, no, if there's no password or secret door, it's not a speakeasy. But basically a cocktail bar, a place you go specifically for cocktails, not the kind of place you show up and just get a beer or whatever. There's quite a few in New York that have won just an ass ton of awards. And this past, so last year we started getting into cocktail making because of Ben and Abby. And then at the end of the year, for Christmas, Katie got me the book from PDT, which is an award-winning bar in New York. It stands for Please Don't Tell. Actually a speakeasy because we went there. And Kyle, do you know how you get into this bar?
How?
You have to go into a hot dog restaurant called Criff Dogs where they make very fancy hot dogs. Like, but it doesn't look fancy. But there's I had like a kimchi hot dog.
Yeah.
It was very good. I also had an everything bagel hot dog where they threw like everything toppings on it and then smeared it with cream cheese.
Okay.
Really good. But I digress. So you're in this hot dog place and there is a phone booth with like this old school slidey door, and you open the door, you go in, you close the door behind you, you dial 1.
No.
It starts ringing. The wall to your left, opposite of the door, just opens up, and a doorman goes, "How many?"
Oh my God! No way!
Yeah, it blew my mind.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Oh, it's so cheesy. It's like it's what you want, though, right?
Yeah.
Like it's what you want.
Like, that Harry Potter guy, awards 100 kids a day with a wand, but still you're stoked as hell. Like, that's awesome. I went to one in Chicago over by Six Corners, and it was, you had to have a app that would tell you the daily password, and you would knock on the door, a little slit would open, and then you'd say the password and you could go in. And it was overpriced because it was half secret, right? But that is some showmanship. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was really sweet. Then both Kate and I have January birthdays. I ended up getting the Death & Co. book, which is another bar in New York. And that one we spent the most time reading. So we were very excited to go to that bar, and it exceeded our expectations. It was just lovely. It was like drinking in the Haunted Mansion.
Ooh.
It's super dark in there. Everything is that like old, dark-stained wood. And then there's like 3 very dim chandeliers. Everything else is candlelight.
That sounds like the one I went to. Nice. Yeah. That's cool. One of the really exciting things about the drink books I know you guys are collecting is the sort of archaeology of Prohibition.
Yes.
And like actually having delicious drinks because we forgot how to make them.
Yeah, exactly. Like in a nutshell, my understanding is that like America was off the chain with their cocktail making, and a lot of that knowledge was lost with Prohibition. Because the ingredients sucked. Yeah. Getting bootleg booze. I'm also watching Boardwalk Empire right now, so this is fascinating.
You should also check out the Ken Burns Prohibition documentary. It is amazing.
I didn't know he had one of those.
He did.
Oh. Is that on Netflix?
Real good. It was.
Okay. I'm going to have to track that down if it's not. But yeah, it was just amazing, man. It was just amazing. Oh my God. The bar we went to last night, I know the name of like two famous bartenders. One of them owns a bar in New York. We went to his bar. He was there, and he just hung out with us. And like sick. A mad scientist was like, oh, you think you don't like this thing. I got you. And he just runs away and then comes back with something. Like
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was just insane well of information.
Well, and to find someone at their job that passionate is always pretty fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really cool, and so I nerded out on him a little bit, and I told him that I was like, "Dude, I know the name of 2 bartenders, and you're one of them. So this is a rad experience."
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I'll have to pick your brain. We're going to New York in September for a wedding. Is that Memorial Day, right? Like it is a full blown.
Today is Memorial Day.
Oh, okay. Then the other one, Labor Day.
Labor Day, I believe, is coming up because we already had Veterans Day, right?
Maybe.
I don't know when all of these dates are. Oh no, it's Veterans Day. Veterans Day is in November.
No, this would be September.
Okay, Labor Day is in September. There you go, Labor Day. Bam,
okay.
We figured it out, guys, through the power of Google.
I'm really excited about it. it's of course been a crazy expensive trip to purchase because it's, Labor Day, New York City weekend. But it's going to be a mega Jewish wedding. Like just the everything. The princess and princesses are coming out kind of thing.
Oh, man.
And it's like 2 doctors getting married too. So it's going to be outrageous.
I have never been to a Jewish wedding. You'll have to inform me of how it is.
I will.
Because you and I both ended up having like completely non-religious weddings.
Yeah. You had a host though, right?
Yeah, I did, but not a priest.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
He
my
did a good job.
It was just my cousin. He's a notary.
I think that's fine.
Yeah. He's gotten jobs doing other weddings after our wedding.
That happens a lot.
I thought he did a great job, but like I don't think he thought of this, and I didn't think of this. But yeah, like 3 months ago, we went to a friend's wedding, and he was doing it. Like I didn't know he was going to be there. I didn't know he was officiating it. And Katie and I are sitting there like, what the hell is Jake? Jake doesn't know Angie. What's going? Oh my God, he's doing the wedding.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really freaking cool. But
my sister's husband, so my brother-in-law, owns a farm. It's one of the biggest farms in all of Oregon, and they plowed a whole area for it and built a podium, and now they just sell weddings there constantly all summer.
I've been trying to convince my parents to do that after our wedding. I'm like, guys, this was amazing, and everyone keeps telling us how amazing it was. You should rent this out.
And people pay a lot because they're used to paying a lot.
Yeah. Well, I have no segue other than to let's just get into the news and what's been happening. And what's happening is Solo ain't doing well, Kyle.
No word around is that it is barely beating out the DC kind of opening weekends.
To a certain degree. I was interested myself and pulled up Memorial Day weekend box office hauls, though, and it's not that bad. It's in 7th place overall since 82.
Oh. I mean, I think the toughest thing for me was seeing the tweets, seeing people say things like, what's wrong with me? Why aren't I excited? This is the first Star Wars movie that I have an XXX. And it's tough to have that first consumer experience, perhaps.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, I guess traditionally, like the highest Memorial Day opening was Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, which only made 139 million, and Solo's sitting at 103 million, down in 7th place, underneath things like Hangover Part 2 and the 6th Fast and the Furious.
Well, I mean, all that would be on purpose, right? So Disney released on a sort of low weekend in the first place.
Yeah,
people are too busy camping.
I mean, back in the day, this is when Star Wars came out, right? And this is when Force Awakens was supposed to come out. This is when Rogue One was supposed to come out. This is when our Last Jedi. Did they just finally say no? We're just gonna project it for December. I can't remember if Last Jedi got pushed, but I know Force Awakens and Rogue One got pushed to December, and so now we're this is our 4th year deep, right, of new Star Wars. And I think part of it, obviously I'm defending here because I enjoyed the movie, but I think part of it is that we've been cultured to expect Star Wars in December, and also it hasn't been that damn long since Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of us are just like, yeah, I don't need that. I mean, granted, some of us see 3 Marvel movies in a year, right? I mean, I won't because I don't care at all about Ant-Man. But, yeah.
I won't see it in theaters. I will see it.
Yeah, I'll rent it, right? That's not something I'm rushing out to the theater to see. I'm going to see Captain Marvel in the theater just because it's a new character, and I know nothing about Captain Marvel. Which right there...
See how they tie it in.
Yeah, which right there is probably a lesson for Disney, Like, I am motivated to see movies when I know just nothing about it.
Yeah. I feel like it's certainly a burnout just of movies, perhaps, or maybe it's a Marvel quality that we have expected that maybe side Star Wars isn't delivering on. It's a really weird phenomenon. Yeah,
because Rogue One did better, but I don't remember Rogue One having critical acclaim. Everyone was like, yeah, it's okay. I have personal friends who loved it and personal friends who hated it, but I feel like the the critical reception was, it's a serviceable film.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the reception here with Solo. So I don't know. I don't think anyone's running around excited for non-numbered Star Wars films.
Well, tell me a little bit about Solo. I mean, I've certainly heard the complaints, and it'd be nice to have those dispelled or confirmed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, I listened to last week's episode, and you were like, "Yeah, I haven't tried to tell Garrett Solo's gonna be bad, but it's like talking to a brick wall." So I feel like talking to you and telling you it's good is like talking to a brick wall.
It's true. Well, okay. Well, I'm open for what it's worth. I'm open to the suggestion. It's more that, like, for me, there's definitely a pushback about going to the theater because it's just expensive, and
it's expensive, and it's I don't know if you have options for theaters, but we do, and they're all kind of crapshoots. Sometimes the volume is right, sometimes the volume is wrong, sometimes the crowd is great, sometimes I want to murder the crowd in their sleep. And I used to have a beat. I used to know, like, theater A is the place to go. And that's no longer the case. I don't know what happened, but it's just been now just a coin flip for good experiences.
Ours is that they've all been made into mega date complexes. So getting in and out of the movies for, $25 means just going down the hill. But getting to a good theater, there used to be kind of isolated good theaters, or the good theater was attached to the mall. Now it's date night, select your seat kind of fanciness, and the price goes up.
We have a theater like that, Cinebistro, one of the ones you can eat at.
Yeah.
And it's really nice.
Cheesy name. Oh
yeah,
God.
It is yup as in there. But I will say, while it is double the price of most theaters locally to go there and see a movie, it's really nice. It's really nice. Yeah. I'm just going to show up 10 minutes before it starts. I've got my seat reserved. It's the cushiest leather seat ever, and it fully reclines. Oh, man, when I want to treat myself, that's what I do.
Those are nice. I mean, when we do like a matinee, apparently, occasionally there. Like, that's what we did for Ready Player One.
Yeah, we saw Ready Player One on one of those, and it was so comfortable, Katie fell asleep. Also, she didn't like the movie that much.
I've only ever fallen asleep in Harry Potter 5.
I don't think I've ever fallen asleep in the theater. I haven't. I get really excited about going to the theater, though.
Oh, yeah. Normally I am, too. But this was, well, hey, I think it might have been the same. Was that the same year I fell asleep on your floor? I think I was just sleepy that particular spring break.
Oh, God, you might have been.
Yeah.
It might have been Harry Potter 6, because I'm pretty sure we're about to go into the 2-year split for 7.
Yeah. That sounds right to me.
Yeah.
I worked really hard on midterms.
So it would have been what? Half-Blood Prince?
Yeah, that sounds right.
All right. Yeah. Spoiler alert. Snape kills Kyle's ability to stay awake.
It's not a sleepable movie, but I do fear the dad powers coming in, right? Like the ability to just cross your arms and just pass out.
That was always a granddad power in our family.
Well, I only have a couple years in my family left.
Yeah. No, dude, but overall I enjoyed it. And like I feel I'm a good man about always kind of disclosing my biases, but this was, if I made a Star Wars movie, Kyle, this would be it. Like, this was so deeply in my wheelhouse of interests with where they went with this movie and the scenarios they put these characters into. I was just grinning like an idiot child the entire time.
How much did we spend on the Millennium Falcon? Like, how fast do we get to the business and hanging out in Star Wars?
It takes a little while. It takes a little while. It makes the beginning a little awkward because there's a spoiler alert. There's a time jump. It's not a huge one, but there is a time jump. So it makes the beginning a little weird, and I can completely understand the complaints about pacing with the first act.
It's when he's probably an Imperial pilot, maybe?
Is
he younger?
He's younger. Well, he's younger. I think it's a 3-year time jump at one point. So we get to see him before. We get to see him basically where he grew up, and then
same actor though.
Yes. No.
Because that'd just be funny, right?
Yeah, it's 3 years, man. We're not talking.
It's like a prequel movie. They make a big deal about like this being Harrison Ford, but then there's like 5 other like age versions of Harrison Ford.
No, nothing like that. No, same actors, same. It's Alden Ehrenreich for the whole movie. But yeah, I thought the very first act was a little odd, but then after that, I was just like, yeah, I'm in. I'm completely in.
So our main characters are Lando. How'd he do?
He is Billy D. Williams. He is the
Nice.
soul, heart, and performance of Billy D. Williams to a T. My concerns that both these characters were not going to learn how to talk like the actors they were playing as was only half right.
I mean, as long as they were characters having fun, right? That's all that really matters.
Yeah. Donald Glover was absolutely incredible in this movie.
How was the robot? Phasma. Not Phasma.
Not Phasma, as it turns out. Another British lady. Don't have her name in front of me.
Completely different lady.
Yeah, completely different lady. Katie thought the same thing. I was thinking at certain points that, yeah, maybe it might be her. Completely different lady that has not been in anything I have seen.
I thought this whole time they're like, Phasma's a big character. You're going to love it. And she's like, okay, excellent. I'll only do it if it's a big role, though. And they're like, yeah, no worries. And then they do the movie, and she's like, guys, that sucked. Oh, no, you're in the next movie. No worries. Oh, crap, that was small, too. Well, we'll put you in Solo as a robot.
No, it's I'm trying to look it up right now. Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
That's a good name.
Yeah. Oh, my God, the droid's full name is L3-37. It's Leet, Kyle. It's Leet. Yep. I didn't, because I just remembered her being referred to as L3. The droid is great. It's both similar and also very different from droids we've seen so far. That's kind of, wisecracking its own personality, like every droid that is memorable in Star Wars, but has very different character motivations. It seems almost like something you might roleplay, Kyle.
That's what I've heard. It's a great roleplay option, right? To believe that droids need freeing, correct? Like they are oppressed by their creators.
No, straight up. Like this, straight up wants equal rights for droids.
But is it played with, or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, without saying too much, it is definitely played with.
Cool. That's all that matters. I've heard people getting real weird about that.
I thought it was wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah, I really like it. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. I mean, Ehrenreich is just not Han Solo, and there's no way to get around it. And I'm going to go softer on it because the more I think about it, I'm just like, I don't know how anyone is that character besides Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Because, and this is where my bias comes in, I think what I really want is just live action Clone Wars or Rebels episodes, and this is what this felt like. That if you, regardless of the fact if the characters, if actors or actresses are too old or dead or uninterested in reprising certain roles, that you tell the story anyway with the tools available to you.
Yeah. Well, it's great to hear. And of course, the chat's wondering if we're getting into spoiler territory. I don't think we have. I know the spoilers from being told them.
Yeah, I'm going to avoid it as much as possible. We're going to do a spoiler show on Let's Talk About Star Wars. Tom is getting back from, I believe, Japan. So once he's back and a sane human being from jet lag, we're going to do that. I don't have a time to announce, but sometime this week, most likely, that will be going down. So before the week is out, we should have a full spoiler episode up. I'm more than happy to come back to the topic if and when you ever see this film, Kyle.
No, I will. Yeah, it is a forced bit of cultural film making.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I don't know how to sell anyone on this movie, because for me my enjoyment came from such a deep and personal place. Like this movie is like a part of our Star Wars campaign. Like it played out so much like our role-playing Star Wars group that I was just giddy with excitement.
Nice.
But yeah, it's fun.
And that's all that matters in the end. I mean, it's fun, and a lot of the abuse, the talking to a brick wall, if you will, like that's all because I am consuming content from the internet that says that this is a dumpster fire. And Garrett's like, I'm gonna watch it, and until like, and with the way they talk, it is not just on fire, which I think we can all enjoy a good dumpster fire, but this thing is exploding and hurting nearby children, and like that's the bowl that I was eating out of, was that this is a travesty.
Yeah, and to that I will say I think objectively it is not. I think, you know, this is not the greatest movie ever made. This is not even the greatest Star Wars movie ever made. Whatever the case. But like, if you go and look at Rotten Tomatoes, it's at a 70%. I think that is supremely fair. I think it's got like a solid C. Like, it knew what, I don't know, and there has been, there's so many horror stories coming out of the production of this damn movie that I'm also sitting here being like, oh my god, it's competent. It's a competent film. They did it, guys. So
I've heard reshoots upon reshoots, right? And that's always like a death sentence, particularly for film connoisseurs before they get to the theater. If you hear the word reshoots, everyone kind of goes, no.
Yeah, I honestly, I mean, every damn movie has reshoots, so it always bothers me. Like, Last Jedi had freaking reshoots, and so did Force Awakens, and so on and so forth. But I mean, this one, with directors being forcibly removed off the project and new directors installed, plus reshoots, I completely understand the concern. Rogue One went through a very similar thing. Like,
yeah,
like Gareth Edwards wasn't kicked off, but it certainly sounds like he was sidelined for a large portion of the project.
I'll tell you a piece of the corporate machine that I'm excited about, perhaps, just announced, is that brand new Men in Black movie with Chris Hemsworth and the woman he played opposite in Ragnarok.
Oh my, is that official? I thought that was a rumor.
Was it a rumor?
If that's official, man, I'm so in. I'm so in on that. I've been a little off the grid lately, Kyle, with all the traveling.
That may not be real, if that's true. I did read it on the internet. I apologize, everybody.
Yeah, dude, like my last week of knowledge is basically New York is awesome, Atlanta barbecue is pretty solid, and I saw Solo. That's it. That's it. I played like no video games. I forgot my Switch.
Oh no.
Yep. I the Delta's Wi-Fi was not good enough for Hearthstone. It was just no video games were played in the last week. So, and also very little news was consumed.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I think if you like Star Wars, you'll like it. I think there's a very good chance if you didn't like Last Jedi that you will like it.
Oh, so the bad guy gets defeated and it's a ending.
Well, that's a huge spoiler to say yes or no to, so I will not react to that.
I guess that's true. Yeah, it's nowadays that's a spoiler, right? You go back, 1960s, ahead of Disney. Every ending is a monster in the end, and the bad guy gets defeated. And come on.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been just playing fun mental exercises with me. I'm like, who is this movie for? Who would enjoy it? Like, to me, it feels very much more classic Star Wars than something like Last Jedi.
Yeah.
If you like Jedi, I think you'll still like it. I don't know. It's definitely not as progressive as something like Last Jedi.
Sure. But they purposefully kind of went out of their way to mess with us there.
Right. And my last comments, I want to say, how I was saying I was really hoping that it was going to be a Western and also like a car movie.
Yeah.
I absolutely got what I was hoping for.
Nice.
It is.
It kind of looked like that, right?
Yeah, dude, there's straight up a shot from the first Fast and the Furious in this movie.
Well, wait, where all the ships are lined up and they go past them and all the booties are out?
No, although that would be really funny.
That'd be hilarious because they'd have to be in spacesuits scrubbing those windows.
Or like an alien with like 4 booties is coming out. Yeah. That would be terrible, and they should never do that. But that'd be great for the parody movie. When Scary Movie 17 and a half comes out, that'd be a good gag.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 boobs from Total Recall.
Yep. Well, you want to crack open the mailbag?
Let's do that.
Sweet. At Bioimportance asks, what non-Blizzard game universe would you like to live in?
Ooh. Something not to say classic D&D, right? I mean, before we added in the Book of Vile Darkness, and Exalted Deeds is actually dirtier than Book of Vile Darkness, as funny as it is. But that's where they added in, drugs and sexual contact diseases and stuff. And you know what? It's always been, when I found out the sun could give you cancer, I kind of wanted to live in a different universe, and I think I'd pick Dungeons and Dragons. I've never had to put on sunscreen for a DM.
Oh man, I love that. That's the point where you draw the line with this reality. It's like, wait, sun gives you cancer. I'm out.
Yeah,
send me somewhere else.
That's phenomenally lame.
Kyle, here's the thing about the world of D&D. Maybe you don't need sunscreen because a dragon will kill you long before sun cancer or skin cancer will.
Right. I do think about that time to time when I'm having these thoughts. I spent a lot of my younger years wishing I could be whisked away to another world or have an alien spacecraft give me animorph powers and all these sort of options. But, I mean, when you get right down to it, questing is a lot of toil, a lot of walking. You got to perform for money so you can stay in the inn that night. You know what? It's not so different than real life.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. I mean, game universe, so I can't say shit like Star Wars. I just want to live in the Star Wars universe. It just seems like a fun place. I want to live in the world of Forza Horizon because it's basically living in Fast and the Furious.
Are there even people in those games?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's people. They're not very important, but that's the reason I want to live there. Like, all of life being reduced to doing stupid shit in vehicles sounds like really fun.
They don't build a greater world than that, do they? Like, this isn't for the keys to the internet kingdom or for control of the moon or anything.
Nope. I mean, the last one was, hey, drawn a bigger crowd so we can expand this car festival.
Sweet.
Like, that's just, it's like, yeah, it's just like race like a nut job so more people get excited and show up and we can have another tent in a different part of this fictional perfect Australia setting.
Oh man, the one I played the most was Need for Speed, where I drove a Ford Focus for most of it.
That would have been, was it Underground 1 or Underground 2? They both had focuses. 2 was the open world.
It had Snoop Dogg songs and Riders on the Storm.
That was Underground 2. I played the shit out of that game.
Yeah, that one was cool because, like, you just get a call back, hey, man, and then, like, text would scroll on your screen, right? Like, it didn't actually have unique quests.
Yep. Oh, God, that game, dude. Oh, that had Unwritten Law. Celebration song was on that freaking soundtrack. Oh, I loved that game. I beat that game from start to finish with a Honda Civic Coupe.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, we both picked pretty high-class cars, right? Things we actually saw in college.
We were in high school. At the time. I wanted to race the shit I had. I had a 4-door Honda Accord. I wasn't a cool kid with the 90s 2-door Civics, but yeah.
They wouldn't let me pick a Subaru Baja.
I can't imagine why. But oh my God, that one had freaking SUV racing though too. You could like get it. You could trick out an Escalade and race it, which even then, knowing almost nothing about cars, I was like, that's stupid.
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous, but the Ford Mustang won every drag race.
Well, yeah, I think it was
at least in the early when I could afford normal cars.
I think 2 had a GT500, which makes sense. That's a straight line car. But that game was arcadey as hell. I loved it.
Yeah,
and that was the first one I remember playing that had drifting.
Yeah, well, that's why I did the Focus.
Yeah, which makes no sense. I did too. I did all front wheel drive cars, which makes no sense for drifting. You have to do drifting in a rear wheel drive car. I don't understand why it works so well in that game, but it's an arcade game, so who cares?
Yeah, for the video game's sake, it worked great. It drove like a heavy in Mario Kart.
Yep. Oh God. Oh, now I just want to like dig up my GameCube and Underground 2, which I think I still have laying around somewhere.
Was that game? I think I played it on Xbox.
It was on it was on every platform. PlayStation, Xbox, GameCube. I just happened to have it on GameCube. I didn't have an Xbox, so I had PS2 and GameCube. So if I had to choose between the two, games looked better on the GameCube.
There is a comfort to wanting to exist in a world where the game is the world. Pokemon, like, I can't wait to knock out your Pokemon, and then you have to heal them. Like, it's okay. Like, the Team Rocket, are they terrorists? I guess so, but that's like the worst the world can come up with.
Ooh, yeah, that's another one. I would totally live in Pokemon world.
Yeah.
Yes, Pokemon. I still just want a full 3D normal ass Pokemon game.
Oh, I think everybody does.
There's rumors that that's coming out for the Switch, and I really hope. I don't want to be 40 when we finally get that.
Now, in the real world Pokemon game of your dreams, would you into combat, or would things be walking around real style?
Real style.
Yeah.
That's what I want from the game. Like, I want to be like walking through and be like, oh shit, it's here. Like, get my Pokemon out. And you can still do turn based, I guess, if you want to do it that way. But I want it to be more organic.
Yeah.
I want it to play out like the anime.
I guess it would probably work best on kind of a Pegasus Island kind of situation where you were already in a duelist kingdom of sorts.
Maybe.
So that it was isolated, and like when the arenas appeared, because that's the other weird thing about the ground in the cartoon was very important, and that's something I always wanted tactically in Pokemon. Same with like Divinity. If you stand in the fire and you're a fire elemental, you should do fire damage or get bonus fire damage or something.
That would be cool. I think don't they do that in later games?
Maybe on the 3D ones.
Did X and Y have? I can't remember. I played quite a bit of X and Y. I can't remember now.
I mean, without it getting like too XCOM-y, right?
They did. All right. Grumpy Lamp says of sorts they did that.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember exactly how it worked. I can't remember the specific mechanic from X and Y. But
at that point, you were breeding Pokemon and duo battling, right?
Yeah.
It got complicated. And plus, the opening Pokemon were really lame. I mean, not that Bulbasaur is cool, but a crocodile? Really? Just a crocodile?
Oh, from what? From later games?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Pokemon-ass looking crocodile.
It's true.
If you put like a realistically rendered crocodile in Pokemon, it would be the most terrifying looking thing.
That'd be funny. I'd like that.
Bulbasaur is cool. You're right, Kyo.
Particularly as a planter. Like, if you want me to geek out on your aloe plant, get one of those Bulbasaur planters. They're badass.
I mean, Squirtle's the correct answer every time, so.
Yeah, doesn't he also make the game... No, Bulbasaur is the easiest, and Charizard was the hardest.
Squirtle's, yeah. I would say, is kind of equally easy, at least for that first gym.
Right, because you do... Water kicks Rock's butt really hard, and you do pretty well through the cave, and then I think you fight Misty, which is kind of just hitting the wall.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, because you're kind of breaking even.
But when you do fire, you got to go through all that rock and all that water. And except for and those are bugs. They're not even plants in the start. They're freaking bugs. So, yeah, that sucks.
Well, the thing that's the easy way to do it with if you take Charmander is you go and capture yourself one of the bugs, specifically Butterfree, because and evolve it up to a Butterfree, so then it makes it a lot easier.
I went with the Beedrill. Bugs are really good against Psychic, and all my friends had Mewtwo's in their roster. So,
well, Butterfree can learn Psychic abilities.
That's true, but Psychic is weak to Psychic. That's why I went with Beedrill.
I just like Butterfree. I don't know why. Something about the idea of murdering things with a giant butterfly amuses me.
It's the king of the hill for me.
Butterfree. Now I just want to go play Pokemon Red. Thanks, Kyle.
Nothing wrong with that. Curl up with that thing.
Did you guys talk about wizards last week, Kyle? Because I'm curious why this question is directed specifically at me.
Oh, I think at some point I said my wizard is based on wisdom rather than intelligence.
Okay. Yeah, because Drew Villamani had a couple questions for us this week. He asked if he said, for Garrett, if you were a wizard, would you rather be known for your wisdom or your knowledge? I'd rather be known for my wisdom.
Yeah. I think it's a book can service as a wizard if you're nothing but a intelligence base. They could walk up to the computer and ask a question, but the wisdom, that is putting things together and solving puzzles.
Yeah. I think it's the more artistic side of wizardry.
Yes.
Yeah, I would go wisdom every time. And True Villain Manny's other question was, what's your comfort movie, the movie you put on when you just want something familiar and good? Good is totally subjective, and there's no need to defend a guilty indulgence.
Well said, True Villain.
What's your comfort movie, Kyle?
Aliens 2 is amazing, so I won't say that one here. Conan, the original Conan. Because it's not good, and it's really long, and it's got Darth Vader in it, but he's a snake cultist. And it's really weird because he has long hair. I think that's like his personality is fine. It's the long hair that weirds you out.
Yeah. I saw it too late, man. I saw it in college, and I was just like, I can't do this.
I saw it that late too. I really like slow pacing though. I do not mind Godzilla movies, the old ones, where half the movie takes place in a boardroom. And
I do like the old Godzilla films. Maybe I need to give Conan another watch, post role playing. Because before I watched it, I had never played a role playing game.
Yeah. What's your opinion of games where you start out with nothing, right? Like, I know you're not a huge fan of Fallout, but think about Fallout, think about Road Warrior when you watch Conan. Like, he has nothing. He finds a sword. And like think about the loot and the quest as you watch it again.
Yeah, well, I mean, Diablo's kind of like that, right? I mean, you have very basic abilities. I like that in Diablo. I like the concept of that in Metroid, even though I have never been a Metroid fan. But I like that kind of that basic concept. So yeah, I should give Conan another honest try with a more developed fantasy mind.
I'd say Metroid is a lot like God of War or even Mario, where it can be very frustrating because you meet so many doors you can't open along the way, and there's a lot of backtracking and all those. Dude, games.
There's so much of that in the new God of War.
Oh right, it's open world. Gross. How does that?
Is
that
not.
bad?
It's. I don't mind it because it's open world like Ocarina of Time was open world. You have a central hub, and you can just go off in these cardinal directions to different places. And there's always an easy way to get back to that central hub. So it doesn't bother me as much. And it's also kind of freed me up being like, yeah, I know I can't open that yet. I'm just moving on. I see brambles. Like, I still haven't figured out how to open the brambles. I'm just like, well, fuck you, brambles. Just keep moving on.
That's really video gaming. That's cool.
Yelling boy.
Man, I mean, it's a tough disconnect for me as an old fan because so much of God of War is a Dark Souls kind of feeling of there's the tower on the horizon. We're going to get there. We just have to open this door and then the chain lowers and and it's very linear in a puzzle way.
Yeah. But as far as my comfort movie, I mean, Aliens is one of them. Aliens and Back to the Future are huge ones. Indiana Jones is a huge one. Jaws is a big one for me. Love Jaws. It's a great movie to fall asleep to, and it's not an insult.
It is a boring movie. And I know Kristen struggles with Jaws' boringness, but it's almost a Cthulhu movie. It's a classic monster movie, and it's really slow, and I love that about it.
Yeah, I do too. I miss that about like older, like even Gremlins kind of has that to a certain degree. Like there's so much of that movie is just a kid hanging out in the suburbs.
Yeah, and when things go so wild at the end. They're battling the shark on the boat. Gremlins, surrounded by all these different characters now. It's a payoff. Not that the movie was wacky.
Right. It's just like, oh God, when Quinn is getting drug out of the boat by this giant animatronic shark, my brain can't help but think to like, an hour ago, wasn't I sitting in dude's living room and his wife comes to him and says, hey, you want to get drunk and fool around? Like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, this movie has progressed.
That's a classic of Steven Spielberg. And I always appreciate it because I thought when parents had kids, they just stopped having fun when I was young. So, I mean, maybe that speaks to my parents and they maybe weren't having enough fun. But it's always comforted me in Steven Spielberg movies that the parents are still attracted to each other.
Yeah, or smoking weed in Poltergeist.
Poltergeist, yeah, that's right. And then they have to open the windows.
Yep.
Like the kid would know the smell.
Oh, well, actually, as young as the kid is in Poltergeist, I'm not sure the kid would.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spielberg parent, and that's something I picked up on very recently. Very recent rewatches of Poltergeist. Most recently with Jaws. I watched it a few months ago, and I was like, oh my God, yeah, that didn't remember that line was in the movie, and I definitely didn't understand it when I was a child.
Well, and that was just those ew, parents being gross kind of moments as a kid. But those mean a lot to me now when I see them.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for taking the time.
Yep. I guess my final point to just tie this episode together. after coming out of Solo, another thing I liked about it, I'm like, this is going to be a sick movie. When I'm sick, I'm going to put this movie on. I'm going to rewatch this movie over and over and over again, not because I feel I missed something. I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, I saw it, and this is the first Star Wars movie I feel like I don't need to see again." And I agree to a certain degree. I don't think you need to watch it again to get anything else out of it, but I just enjoyed it. I just kind of like Aliens. Like, I know every scene, every line of dialogue in Aliens, but I still love watching it.
I think a lot of the joy of rewatches, like you said with Back to the Future, is what's it called when they hint ahead?
Foreshadowing?
Foreshadowing. Yes. Foreshadowing. That to me is a lot of the joys of so many movies. In fact, we just started watching, and Kristen had never seen it, so it's been a real delight to watch Venture Bros for the first time ever for her. And I had seen it in a sort of World of Warcraft rating Adult Swim kind of situation where I watched all the episodes out of order, 20 times each out of order, and they were frustrating. They weren't very good.
Venture Brothers is like Arrested Development. If you watch it out of order, it really falls apart.
Yeah, and I love Brock Sampson. I love certain characters, but it didn't grab me. But watching them all in order for the first time, you can see how much foreshadowing they did for the Guild of Calamitous Intent, and how much buildup there is to something like his tumor brother popping out, right? Like, it just alone, though they feel like such disjointed, what the heck Adult Swim D&D ideas that you've ever seen, like made up on the spot, but they're really quite creative. And so far, I mean, we just finished season 1, and it was fun to watch because she just laughed at parts I didn't even remember. I just seen it so many times. Yeah.
It's Venture Brothers I have always fallen off of. I don't know why. I genuinely enjoy it, but every time I try and make it all the way through, I never do. I always just like get sidetracked by something else.
I think the hit at the end of the first season is pretty disjointing, maybe, for a lot of people, and it's easy to just quit there.
It takes a while for the animation to get as awesome as it gets, too.
Yeah, that's another thing. The graphics were updated in my brain.
It's real shitty in that first season.
It's very YouTube.
That is some Hanna-Barbera crap.
And they're going for that style, right? But it's that mouths are moving while everyone's standing still. Newgrounds kind of animation, even.
Yeah.
Very cheap.
Oh my God, you're right. It's like someone handed a copy of Flash to Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah.
So it's like two crappy forms of animation combined. I have no love for Hanna-Barbera cartoons, in case anyone's wondering.
They're old. They are. Hanna-Barbera is Scooby-Doo, though, right? I do like Scooby-Doo.
I hate Scooby-Doo.
Even before Bull started coming in with Scrappy-Doo and all that.
Don't like any of it.
Just a classic fan under a table is a ghost.
None of it at all. Can't get into it. What's Flintstones Hanna-Barbera?
I think right?
Was it?
Yeah. Anything Boomerang, right? Or no.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so I guess I like Hanna-Barbera. I just don't like Scooby-Doo because I like the Flintstones and I like the Jetsons.
I mean, the Blue Dog thing sucks. There's lots of cartoons that you're just like, what the heck is going on? Who thought this was a good idea?
Yeah. Well, anyways, folks, if you want to write into the show, amovetv@gmail.com is the email you can send your Weeksauce emails to, or you can tweet at us at GarrettArt, at Kyle Ferguson. I think it's going to wrap it up for the show, dude.
Awesome. Well, it's good to have you back, man.
I just want to say I appreciate how chill the solo combo was today. I came in with my guard up, man. I was expecting to fight because the internet, man, the internet's been hard. It feels like grade school again, where like I'm like, I love this thing, and everyone's like, you're wrong.
I mean, to me, it's about the fun of the dumpster fire, and once it wasn't a complete trash fiesta, I really don't care.
I think that's a really fair reaction.
Like, there's two reasons I'm going to see a movie very quickly. Because it's the worst thing ever made, or it's the best thing ever made. And I'll take my time seeing the in-betweens.
Yeah, the in-between, yeah. I think that's all right, man. I can respect that. I get where your head's at. All right, I think it's going to do it. Hey, dude, you do all sorts of other things besides this show, besides Into the Nexus. Where can everybody find the fine content that you're putting out?
Hey, you should check it out right now, in fact, because I'm about to go live over at twitch.tv/Kyle Ferguson. I have transformed into a morning stream, or, well, depending on what coast you're on, starting about 10 a.m. most days. So I'm at over there right now, play some Heroes action alongside Kristen Ashton, and we'll see y'all there.
Awesome, dude. I'm Garrett Art on Twitter. All of the podcasts are at amove.tv, amove.tv. Going to be back on Angry Chicken tomorrow. Going to be back on Into the Nexus on Thursday. We're doing two Embrace the Spoilers this week. Tomorrow we'll be recording the one for the latest episode of Westworld, and you can find that feed by searching for Embrace the Spoilers, Westworld. And then on the regular Embrace the Spoilers feed, which is called just Embrace the Spoilers, we're going to be reviewing Deadpool 2, which I'm going to be seeing right now. So I'm going to leave and go laugh at Ryan Reynolds being funny and have myself a good time. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. It's good podcasting with you again, Kyle. I legitimately miss you when I'm gone. And we'll see you next week for the next Weeksauce. Good luck and have fun, everybody.
Take care.
Bam.
Nice.
In the
All
bag.
Right, sweet man.
That was fun.
It was fun.
It was a raucous good time.
It's good to be awake for these.
Hey, man, you're peppy as shit today.
Oh, I lifted heavy things.
Lifted. Oh, you got up and worked out.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's the plan. Is I got to do it in the morning, or it's not going to happen anymore. And I'm up to 5 days a week. Oh my god.
Ooh. I gotta say, the best I felt was right before New York. We ran 4 days a week, and I lifted weights 3 days that week. I just felt great at the end of that week. I was just like ready, and I have put on all the weight I lost with that New York trip.
Makes sense.
But hey, at least I know I can get rid of it, right? So, diet starts again now. We got our popcorn popper.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
Yeah, we did that thing. I'm just editing the show in the background here in case you're wondering why I'm still here yapping at you. Olive oil and popcorn is good.
Yeah. Yeah. A bit of salt. We throw the salt in with the unpopped corns.
Oh, you do? Does that distribute it better? Because I was having trouble distributing my salt.
It does, and it puts the salt on the inside of the poppage, so you bite into it, and it kind of has like this ooh flavor kind of explosion.
Cool. Yeah, we did it with sea salt and just like garlic powder.
Yeah,
Shit was tasty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's no butter, but
but it'll
also,
fill you up.
Yeah, it's also not as disappointing as plain rice cakes.
Yeah, those are pretty lame.
Those are the Katie got some of those, and she actually likes them, which is so bizarre to me. But I'm not judging. I
mean, you could smear some peanut butter on them, make protein cakes, but it doesn't help out too much.
Yeah. So, to me, I'm just like, oh shit, I can have salty garlic popcorn. I'll take that as my diet snack. One of these days we just do like a health episode.
We should. In fact, we should have Kristen for that.
Oh, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, if you're cut off, but yes, you're here. I'm gonna run. I'm off to my stream.
See you, dude.
I'll see you all at Kyle Ferguson later.
Bye, everybody.